I do consider myself moderate right. I'm a registered independent, but I do definitely lean right. Voted for Donald Trump, and I support almost all of the policies that he's been implementing today. So wherever you want to take that conversation, feel
I
free.
got you. I got you. Can you name a Trump policy that you like?
Yeah, I can name a few. Do you want to go by just like executive actions that he produced over
Go ahead.
the course of this
Anything you'd
last month?
like.
Yeah, sure. One of my biggest supports for Donald Trump so far in this term is I think he's taking an actual effort to slash spending in this administration. I think spending has been a problem for the past few administrations. I even think 2017 Donald Trump had a problem with spending. So I think it's very clear that we do have deficit issues in this country. And I do want to see drastic cuts in the deficit. I know obviously your rebuttal is going to be, oh, he's also trying to cut taxes and that's going to add to the deficit. But what I really want to see in this country is slashing spending. I really want to see an actual effort to decrease spending from the federal government before we argue about like tax policy and stuff like that.
And that's what Donald Trump's trying to do. He's trying to add more to the debt.
Yeah, I knew that was going
His
to be
campaign
right?
plans are estimated to cause more debt-related spending. Not only did they
Yeah.
do that in the past, but they're estimated to do that
Yeah, but I
based on
do
his
want to
campaign
see
plans.
like serious
What's the most that he could
consideration
get?
about slashing spending, right?
What's the most he could possibly get in terms of cutting spending
If we talk about
over 10
discretionary,
years?
I think the answer is 2 trillion.
2 trillion. That's still half of what the difference would be between Harris and Trump in terms of debt-related spending added over the next 10 years on a central estimate, according to the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that. I do agree that there is a like a sliver of discretionary spending that could be slashed. Um, but we also have to consider slashing other budgets. Like we have to decide what the federal government should be spending money on. I'm not trying to say take money away from old people that are like guaranteed social security. But what we should be considering is like, is there any fraud, waste, and abuse in SSA? Is there any waste, fraud,
Of
and
course, we'd want to
Medicaid,
check if there's
Medicare?
fraud, waste, and abuse, but I don't think that they're going to be the ones to identify that there's fraud, waste, and abuse, and I don't trust them doing so. Push the cap, and I guarantee we're going to find out that they didn't do so properly, and that there were things that they fucked up on, and things that they cut that were not waste, fraud, and abuse. That they claimed it was waste, fraud, and abuse, and that's what happens when you put someone who literally throughout his entire life has lived his life on waste, fraud, and abuse at charge of determining what's waste, fraud, and abuse.
So is your argument that just the person in charge is not the person in charge that you would trust with that job, or is
Absolutely.
your take that the job is
A
not
person in charge is not the one I'd trust. Of
okay?
course, I want
Okay,
to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse.
sure. Do you
That just
believe
includes
that
Donald
that's
Trump.
significant? I think that's a fair take, but obviously that's a take from somebody that voted against Donald Trump, right?
Yeah.
So, like, as a voter for Donald Trump, I have to decide: do I determine that he is going to put the national interest above personal interest, right? As a voter, right?
And I would not expect him to do that. Come on.
No, I mean that's your take as a voter, but my take as a voter is that I decided that I think Donald Trump can put national interest above personal
So
interest.
give me any
And
evidence to indicate that's likely going to happen.
um, all right, that's a thoughtful question. I can give you a thoughtful answer. So Donald Trump has had a lot of benefits from the presidency. I think we can all agree with that. Right. So, how can we determine that as a person that obviously, as a human being that wants to personally gain from any single position that they're in, how can we determine that Donald Trump will put national interest in front of personal interest? So, the way that I would break that down is look at what he's done in his first presidency, look at what he's done since. I mean, the man has sacrificed a lot for the country. Like he's divested from a lot of his personal
Like what?
assets. But I mean, from Trump Incorporated, he divested most of it and gave it to Donald Trump Jr. So Donald Trump Jr. is now in control of most of their personal assets. So I mean, that's one. But other things that I would say is that like all his foreign assets were divested. I think I think we could also look at just the fact that Donald Trump has taken a bullet for this country. Like that is like pretty significant, you know. I mean, look, if he was just trying to gain his own wealth, after that, if it was me and I was just trying to gain my own wealth, I'd probably give up, you know. So
Or
I do
maybe
have
what you would
some level of
do,
respect for that.
or maybe after that, what you would do is hawk like a Bible, sneakers, a meme, like a meme coin. Maybe you would like pawn all that off on your like unsuspecting followers, right?
Look,
That's what I would do, right?
yeah, I'm not trying to say that every single one of his like his meme coin, like I don't support that. Like I don't love any of those things because I by the way, and like to give you like an intelligent take on something like that, I think the meme coins are specifically dangerous because you are susceptible to foreign influence in those kind of currencies.
Would you do you have a sister or like a child?
No, I have a brother and a mother.
Okay. If Donald Trump went up to your 10-year-old brother and said he'd be dating them in 10 years, would you vote for him still?
No, I don't support any child pedophilia. I don't want you guys to take any.
So Donald Trump said he'd date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years. Do you regret voting for him?
I do not regret voting for Donald Trump. I don't agree with the way that you are phrasing this conversation.
How so?
Well, I don't have this quote in front of me. Obviously, I know that's such a cop out answer. I don't mean to do that to you,
Do you want me to
but
like? Do you want us to play it?
um, I'll take your word. I'll
Well,
take your word. I know.
how about this,
If you say
Frank?
something like that, I don't love things like that. I really
Well,
don't.
Frank, how about this? What characteristic was Trump judging a 10-year-old on to then say that he'd be dating her in 10 years?
Um, yeah. So
Did
I'm
the 10-year-old
pretty
have a good personality? Were they did they make good conversation?
guys. If you want me to support somebody saying that they want a 10-year-old in 10 years, like you're not gonna get me doing that. I will not do
No,
that
no,
ever.
no. We're just testing how far, like your support goes because,
No, it
you
doesn't go
know,
that far. It doesn't go that far. I'm not in like a
Okay. Well,
cult
then,
well,
do
like
you
you regret
voted for
voting
him,
for?
so
Do you
apparently it does.
do you regret voting for him?
no.
So
Okay, so it
apparently it does
does
go
go
that
that far.
far. Yeah.
Yeah, so it does go that far.
Can't I have my own views though? Can't I have my own
Wait. Is
morality?
it going too far, or yes or no?
Do I think what you just said and which I pretty sure Donald Trump also like said. I'm not like claiming that what you're saying is a lie. Do I think that's terrible? Yes.
Okay. So do you blame him?
I think he shouldn't say things like that. Do I think that he's
Do you
sexually
regret vote?
abused?
So why don't you regret voting for him?
I don't think he has sexually abused 10-year-olds. I think he said things that like are very often conceived as
So would you vote for him if he went up to your 10-year-old brother and said he'd be dating him in 10 years?
Parker. I was pretty clear with what I just said. I don't like when he says things like that. I don't think it's okay to say things like that. But I overwhelmingly support what he supports. Like I overwhelmingly support his policy.
Okay, wait, hold on. Which of his policies outweigh a possible pedophilic, type of tendency? Because again,
Are we like completely decided that Donald Trump's take is just pedophilic?
Well,
Like
yeah,
wait,
do you believe
no. Hold
that's how
on,
you
Frank.
referred to it
Frank, you
earlier.
did not answer my question, by the way. I asked you what
Yeah.
characteristic is Donald Trump judging a 10-year-old on to say that he would be dating her in like 10 years? What characteristic?
Yeah, don't love that take. Again, don't want to support that take. You're
I
not gonna
know
get
it's
me like
because
on
it's
like
because
TikTok
there is
live like
no
supporting
good
that. I can't do
answer.
it. I can't give you an answer on that because I have like a successful like career ahead of me. I will never ever support a statement like that. But I don't think Donald Trump actually
Only
is a
because he has a
pedophile.
successful career ahead of him, by the way. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Well, no. Okay, I didn't mean it like that. Sorry. I don't support pedophilia in any terms ever. Ever. You drilling me on like some specific statements that he said, like, by the way, before the 2017 campaign. Why don't we talk about actual policy that he's implementing today? Why don't we have that conversation? If
Okay,
that's okay.
okay. Tell me one of his economic policies that you like.
Proposed or implemented?
In it.
Influence to get passed.
Say that one more time.
Influence to get passed.
Influenced. Yeah. So I would say no tax on tips. Awesome. No tax on overtime.
No tax.
Awesome.
Neither of
No
those are
tax
in
on
the new
public.
spending bill.
Yeah, I think a lot of Democrats have been giving a lot of hate on the newest like spending structure that was passed. By the way, it's not a spending bill that was passed. It was more of like a structure that was passed through the House.
Budget resolution.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So do you get the point though? Like, do you get what I was referring to?
There are two different spending proposals. One is getting passed through the Senate. One's getting passed through the House. I'm assuming that you're referencing the House proposal.
Well, the Senate one also
Neither of them have no tax
doesn't
on
have the
tips, right?
tips,
Where,
and the one in the House doesn't have the energy and immigration stuff in it.
yeah,
No, I
The other way around.
which policy do you like that has no tax on tips?
The one in the Senate, by the way, is having a vote-a-rama, so we can add
It already
amendments.
happened. It already happened.
Well,
You can find all this information within my Substack.
Based. Yeah,
Sorry.
actually, everyone go check out Matt's Substack. You can find it in my link tree.
I'm like 10 people away from like 1,000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's free and it's
so
free, everyone. It's a great newsletter.
okay, so even if we don't pass like no tax on tips and everything, which I do support 100%, one of the biggest things that is being supported in both resolutions coming from both houses, both chambers, is the extension of TCJA, which I fully support.
Predominant tax cuts to the top 1%, you know?
Yes. It also
Yes.
Yes.
it doubles the standard
Yes!
deduction. It
Yes!
doubles the standard deduction. It
What
doubles the
tax
child
cuts
tax
for the
credit.
rich? Yes!
Parker,
Yes! Rich people get tax breaks. Yes!
Parker, I don't want rich people to get tax breaks. It does double the standard deduction. It doubles the child tax credit.
Femi, thank you for $2. No, it doesn't.
It
The
it does so.
Kamala Harris would have increased the child tax credit to $6,000 for the first year of a child's life, 3,600 through them being 5 years old, 3,000 through them being 18.
So Parker, the TCJA does not double the child tax credit.
Not comparative to what Kamala Harris would have done.
That's not what I'm asking.
You're saying comparative to what it would have been prior
From
to
prior
Trump.
to TCJA, prior to
I'm
20.
not disputing that. What I'm
So it does
what I
double.
comparative to that. I'm not saying comparative to
Yes,
Kamala Harris.
but
Comparative to
that's
Kamala
not what I
Harris, it would
said
be
either.
less, right? Appreciate the description. Thank you so much.
Compared to her proposal. But like to be
Okay,
honest, like
okay. So
shouldn't we
Kamala,
still
so
aim?
what's better, doubling the child tax credit, right, or tripling the child tax credit?
I think that's a great point. But can I be honest with you? That's not what's going on right now. Like Kamala Harris is not
That's
in
what
office.
Kamala Harris was
So what is
advocating
the
for.
proposal right now, though? We are looking at a
Because you guys
proposal that
voted
could
for
roll
Donald Trump.
back
Because you
TCJA.
voted for Donald Trump.
Parker, you're not listening to me.
You're not listening to me.
TCJA could be revoked, correct? In this budget resolution.
Could it be revoked? Obviously, it could. Is it likely to? No.
It's not likely to,
Joanna,
but it
thank you for the
could,
description.
It's
right?
already extended.
So should we not base it off of pre-TCJA standards? Or why are we basing it off of like
Yeah.
proposed
Yeah. Why are we
policy?
basing it on pre-TCGA standards?
Jay,
First confetti. Yeah. You just realized that argues against you.
why? Explain that to me.
Yeah, because pre-TCGA standards would be that the
Jay,
child
it's a
tax
J.
credit was $1,000.
It's the Tax Cuts and Job Act. Stop calling it G.
I meant to say J. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Allison, thank you for the description. Nice. You could have responded to anything of substance that I said, but instead he decided to say that. I'm debating it with you. Donald Trump's tax policy would increase taxes proportionally on lower and middle income individuals while decreasing taxes on people who are rich because tariffs, right, are a regressive tax, meaning they disproportionately tax
Sure.
people who are lower and middle income.